This is yet another case where I didn't necessarily expect the video to take the turn it did, but sometimes you just roll with what's going on. This one has a lot of story to it, so let's dive in. On Thursday, January 11th, I was itching to get out. Mother Nature gave us a blanket of about 4 inches of snow on Tuesday, but the real show was to start Friday night. Models were a bit all over the place, but most agreed that we'd be getting at least 6 inches and possible blizzard conditions to go with it, then a week or two of single-digit or negative high temperatures. At any rate, today was our last decent weather day before we turned into Siberia, so I was hoping we'd get something of interest to come through. Little did I know what would happen. Bit of a disclaimer, there will be train video here, but there will be a lot of radio traffic as well. It's important to know what was going on to really appreciate the pure chaos of this day. As I do most days I'm free, I keep an eye and ear on what's going on out on the Chicago Sub. And we've got a 252 coming across Illinois. Perfect. However, it ends up parked at Pingree Grove for almost an hour with PTC problems. The lead engine's PTC would not reconnect after just disconnecting itself mid-trip. It was also blocking the single track west of Pingree Grove with a 541 leaving Bensonville. After 3 attempts to get it started again, they finally gave up. 252 was then given permission to run the last 25 miles or so with PTC cut out. Just a quick note, from here on I was recording audio in the field and I was recording 2 channels at once. The radio I use does not record in stereo, so there's no way for me to separate that audio by channel. So sorry in advance if there are people talking over each other. I'll try to minimize that as much as I can, but the radio is important for the story here. As I'm leaving home, 252 calls the Elgin to give them a heads up where they are.
CPKC Elgin Sub answering the Spalding radio, over.
252 on the KCS 4174 East, Elgin, over.
Go ahead, over.
Alright, 701111.
Alright, I saw you logged in.
Well, you guys are doing so hot.
701-102, over.
But I have 701141 in my possession. I can use either one, over.
Okay, use the current DOB 701111. That's a good DOB, over.
Okay. Good DOB 701111. And approaching Randall Road.
Alright. So your PTC is cut out, is that correct, over?
Yes, that is correct. PTC is cut out, over.
Alright, I am going to make some changes so that our computers show that's cut out, over.
You'll be following that method that leaves at 22, and you'll be coming into the outbound, and there's a 541 that's knocking down at 35.
And the Pingree Grove radio-controlled switches unline themselves. And yes, I know that's not a word. As I get to Schaumburg, I hear the Elgin dispatcher talking to a CSX 3015 about whether or not they have a TGBO for the Chicago Sub.
CPKC, Elgin Dispatcher CSXT 3015. Do you have a CPKC Chicago Sub TGBO, over? Okay, CPKC Elgin Dispatch route.
Being a CSX leader, this is almost definitely a 547, and obviously will be taking the Chicago Sub if they need a TGBO for it. I had also just missed that westbound 541, which is still waiting for 252 to clear their Chicago Sub warrants so they can go west. 252 calls to give the Kansas City drawbridge their delay from the PTC problems and clears their warrant at the same time. Again, there is some radio funkiness here as Channel 65 is both the road channel for the Chicago Sub and the operational channel for the Bensonville and Schiller Park intermodal yards, and I was hearing both. 148 is working in Bensonville. That's who keeps getting in the way.
Pingree Grove, over.
252, dispatcher.
Hey, go ahead, over.
No delay at Randall here. 12:35, got the light.
Alright, perfect. What time did you guys start stopping for that PTC issue earlier, over?
Here, sir. Dispatcher 252, we stop at 10:40.
Testing the brakes.
44.9, and we departed at 12:10. 1210. Over.
Perfect, thank you. Are you able to release your first one, over?
Roger, good brakes. Are we leaving the DP here, over? Guys look good past us.
One more.
Yes, I would like to release track 12508 to KCS 4174 East, box 2, box 7. At your time, over.
Is the DP coming with us, Kenny?
KCS 4174 East, putting clear track 12508, 2508 at
Roger, in.
236 TLW, is that correct, over?
That is all correct. KCS 4174 East, using track 12508. All clear those limits at 12:36. 1236 TLW, the cost, over.
Thanks, that's all correct, over.
That's all correct, and then
Batch 3.
guys, a little bit to be able to release the other one, over.
As soon as 252 clears their warrant past Pingree Grove, 541 gets theirs to start heading west.
Yeah. 541, you want to copy one real quick while I wait, over?
41 ready to copy.
2522, 2522, date January 11, 11, 2024, 2024. To the NS 9319731 West, WC at Pingree Grove. They're going to TWO. C from double track to Pingree Grove, C Malta 6767, Chicago Sub on the main track. 2522, so line check 192, TLW, over.
Get on track 12522, 2522, January 11, at Pingree Grove. Checkbox 2, TWO, proceed from double track switch Pingree Grove, milepost 67, MT67, Chicago Sub on the main track. 2522, 2522, one line check
2522, one line check line 2, K1238, 123, TLW, over.
2522, 2522, one line check line 2, okay, 1238, 123, TLW, conducting over.
That's all correct, over.
This is the Metro that B-17 was talking about, 2236, and it yet again has another surprise on the back.
CPKC Elgin Sub and S7285. What were the loads and MTs, over? No, I had everything else, just the loads and MTs were low.
I didn't know it was coming, but I could see it as it pulled in, so I had time to get a better camera shot of it. It's SD7505, the same one we saw in last month's video, but now without the awkward pan move I made. I relocate to the western end of the platform for 252. CSX 3015 still can't figure out how to enter a Chicago Sub TGBO into their PTC. You may have heard the terms DOB and TGBO before. They aren't the same, but are semi-related. DOB is Daily Operating Bulletin, and it essentially lists anything special that a train crew may need to know for that particular day. Tracks out of service, temporary speed restrictions, work zones, things like that. If it goes into a track bulletin, it can be found in the DOB. The TGBO is the Tabular General Bulletin Order, and is a set of special instructions or information pertaining to an individual train. Each train will have its own TGBO, while the DOB will be the same for all trains on that particular day. To activate PTC and operate a train outside yard limits, the train must have verified and entered a correct DOB and TGBO number into the system. So, unless 3015 can enter their Chicago Sub TGBO, they can't enter the limits of the Chicago Sub. Again, a rather large problem if they're running that way. While 3015 works on that, here comes 252 about 20 minutes behind the Metro. I now see why they couldn't just switch the lead engine to get PTC to play nice. It gets much more complicated when you're running one up front and one as a DPU. Here comes Metro 2217. It's nothing special, and if you were wondering, I still hate the ex-Amtrak F59 PHIs.
Milwaukee West Main Line Transformer 2000. Yellow line.
After it passes, I head back to the truck to sit down, warm up, and listen to the radio for a bit. 3015 still can't figure out how to enter that TGBO, so the dispatcher finally gives up.
CPKC Elgin Dispatcher, CSXT 3015, over. You will recrew at Randall Road, so you won't have to activate that TGBO. And you won't have to pick up any paperwork at B17, over. That's correct. And, get you up to Franklin Park. To follow some metros, over. That's correct, CPKC Elgin Metro.
And there's another fun wrinkle on this whole thing.
CSXT 3015, got approach at Park. Okay to come around, over.
Yeah, we're gonna, what time are you good till, over?
Oh, 1500, over.
You were supposed to be on duty at 0610, over. Stand by, over.
Standing by. Stand by, over.
Engineer and conductor, please, over.
Conductor. Engineer.
And what time were you on duty, over?
300, over.
Alright, signal indication west, over.
Signal indication west, copy that. CSXT 3015 now.
That gives that train slightly over an hour to get to Randall Road. This means they're going to have to run it in front of Metros and delay them, otherwise risk the crew dying somewhere in the middle of the Elgin Sub.
CPKC Elgin Dispatcher, CSXT 3015. 2 main to B17. Keep it rolling, over.
B17.
CPKC Elgin Dispatcher.
B-17 asks a question, and the Elgin dispatcher answers it instead.
B-17, 547, over.
547 answering, over.
The track warrant book here for you. Let me make sure that you're still supposed to pick that up, or what's going to happen now, over.
CPKC Elgin Dispatcher, B17. He's highballing that. He doesn't need the paperwork, over.
Good, it'll be here. CPKC Tower B-17 out.
CSXT 3015 now. Yeah, no need to pick that up.
IY11 is now working Bensonville and can be heard on the second channel. Because this 547 had to be shoehorned in, Metro is going to be delayed, like I said. But we finally see good old 547 coming around the corner from Rodenberg Road. Today 547 is mostly cars owned by Valero. This train has come from Tampa as CSX B638, will run to Mason City, Iowa as CPKC 547, and will then continue as CPKC K45 from there to the Valero Hartley Renewables plant in Hartley, Iowa. And finally, we get the delayed Metro 2219. Nothing much to say here other than, of course, it had an F59 on it.
Milwaukee West Main Line train number 2219 to Winchester.
And thus ends another day of confusion and chaos on the CPKC Elgin Sub. The following day, Mother Nature would dump about 7 inches of extremely wet and heavy snow, followed by 2 days of temperatures that don't even reach 0. The last few winters haven't been that bad, so we were due, but it doesn't make any of it more fun. If you like this video, go ahead and hit the like button and subscribe for more videos like this one. If you have any questions, feel free to drop them in the comments below and they may be featured in a future video. You can follow me on Instagram and read the blog, links are down in the video description. And don't forget, I'm now on Flickr and on Threads, links also down in the description. Until next time, I'm Tyler, and thank you for watching the Northeastern Illinois Railfan YouTube channel.